My dad and brother went fishing in Alaska, but only my brother came back. Carl came back from Alaska alone. He called me from Anchorage, and I knew before he said anything. The silence on the line told me everything. Kirk's gone, he finally said. My father. Gone. Carl explained that they'd been out on the boat 3 days into the trip when Dad went overboard during a storm. The Coast Guard searched for 2 days. Nothing. Carl had stayed another week helping with the search before flying home. I handled everything. Called Mom's sister Maureen, who started making arrangements. Called Dad's clients. Closed his accounts. Carl stayed at my place those first few days, barely speaking. He'd wake up at odd hours, and I'd find him on the couch, staring at nothing. One night I asked him to walk me through it again, step by step. He went through it mechanically. The storm. Dad on deck checking lines. The wave. Carl reaching for him but missing. The terrible hours after. I pressed further, asking if Dad had said anything that day. If anything had seemed off or wrong. Carl's jaw tightened. He wanted to know why I thought something would be wrong. I didn't know. It just felt like a question I needed to ask. 2 weeks later, I was closing out Dad's storage unit when I found the folder. Bank statements for an account I didn't know existed. Transfers, regular ones going back 3 years, $10,000 a month, always to the same routing number. I traced it to a bank in Juneau. I called Carl and asked if Dad had ever mentioned anyone in Alaska, anyone he knew there. Carl asked why I was asking. I told him about the money. The line went quiet for so long I thought he'd hung up. When he finally spoke, his voice was flat. Leave it alone. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dad was sending someone money for 3 years and Carl expected me to just ignore it? I mean it. Leave it. He hung up. I flew to Juneau the next week. The account belonged to a woman named Belinda Theodore. She lived in a small house 20 minutes from the harbor. I knocked. A woman in her 40s answered, and behind her I heard a child's voice. When I asked about Kirk, her face changed. The older one, she said. Carl told me about you. The child appeared then, maybe 7 years old. He had Dad's eyes. Dad's exact eyes. Belinda invited me in. She made coffee I didn't drink while she explained. She and Dad met 6 years ago when he'd come up for a fishing trip. They'd fallen in love. She got pregnant. Dad couldn't leave his life, his business, his other family, but he couldn't abandon this one either. So he'd been living 2 lives. 3 weeks in Seattle, 1 week in Alaska, every month like clockwork. I asked if Carl knew. She studied my face before answering. Kirk had told him 2 years ago. Needed someone to know in case something happened. He loved you. Both of you. That's why this was so hard for him. Where is he? She stood, walked to the window. She told me quietly that her son's name was Theodore Kirk, that Kirk had picked it. Where is he? He's not dead, she said. The storm was real, but Kirk didn't go overboard. He asked Carl to say he did. He couldn't keep living split in half anymore. He chose to stay. The room tilted. I couldn't process it. Carl had lied to everyone. To Mom's sister. To me. Helped stage the whole thing while I grieved. Belinda said Kirk was going to tell me himself eventually. That he just needed time. Time for what? I asked, my voice rising. To what? Let me grieve while he plays house up here? She didn't answer. I found Carl at my place that night. He was packing. When I confronted him, told him I knew he'd help Dad fake his death, he kept folding clothes. He said Dad had asked him to. I couldn't understand how he could have just agreed. Let me think Dad was dead. Stood there while I called everyone and made arrangements for a funeral that didn't need to happen. He was drowning, Carl said, turning to face me. Not in the water, in his life. He had another son, a woman he loved, and he was suffocating trying to be 2 people. He begged me. Said it was the only way he could survive.